The Cleveland Browns have had a disaster of a season from top to bottom, and they need major changes at nearly every position to turn things around.
It was beautiful for these fans, man. I appreciate everybody that came out here in these conditions. Please celebrate, all right? But please get home safely.
You asked for it and we delivered. It's Fan Friday, and you, the fans, chose today's topic for Point of View. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let us know if you think the Browns can get back on track in the near future. I'm choosing to stay optimistic here and say they can in the next few years, but it's going to take a lot of work from the front office and coaching staff. They found themselves in a really tough situation after handing out some contracts they shouldn't have, while others have been underperformed or plagued by injuries. Of course, it all starts with Deshaun Watson's mega contract that's fully guaranteed. That will undoubtedly be the biggest obstacle for the rebuild, but it's far from the only issue. For one, the running back position has been in flux all year as Nick Chubb has only played 5 games and is averaging 44 rushing yards per game and 3 yards per attempt. He'll hit free agency in the offseason, which will leave Jerome Ford as the presumed starter if no other moves are made. And the offensive line hasn't been much help either. Yes, they have been decimated by injuries, but it shouldn't look as bad as it has. Then you turn to the defense, which has some individuals who can count on going forward, like Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward, but as a unit, it's been underwhelming compared to last season, particularly in the secondary. They grabbed just 2 picks all season, which is only better than the lowly Giants, and have allowed the most yards per reception in the league. Ward has still produced pretty well, but the rest hasn't inspired much confidence for the future. And while I've always thought Kevin Stefanski was a really good head coach, he may be on the hot seat despite all the good he's done for the franchise the last few years. He's far from the biggest issue, but the Browns might benefit from a new voice in charge. All that to say the Browns, as they currently stand, are nowhere near competing for anything meaningful anytime soon. And General Manager Andrew Berry was asked during their bye week a couple of weeks ago about a potential teardown of the roster. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I think one of the beauties of the NFL is it's not like baseball. It's not like basketball where at times you may need these like half-decade-long, pivots or rebuilds. I think you see it every year, with teams. Just the margins are so thin. And then honestly, with just the way that our sports works with player procurement, I don't think it's not like we're drafting a 16-year-old kid who's, got to play 8 years in the minors before he comes and produces or something along those lines. So, I think generally you don't necessarily have to see those pivots in our sport.
Sounds like he's leaning towards not tearing it all down, but what else can we expect during an in-season press conference? He shouldn't throw his guys under the bus with so much season left, so I still think it's nearly a guarantee that major moves are coming. Of course, that should start with Deshaun Watson, but they might be stuck with him for now, so let's focus on all the other areas they can improve more easily. But before we get to that, here are the results of this week's poll question. Thanks to all who voted. Look out for another question on Monday. Now back to the rebuild. I think the most important place to start is the offensive line. DeJuan Jones appears to be the left tackle of the future, but the rest of the unit shouldn't be safe. And the best way to rebuild an offensive line is through the draft. Cleveland holds 9 total picks in 2025, including 4 in the first 3 rounds. We've seen plenty of future star linemen come from recent drafts like the Chargers' Joe Alt, and in a year where the QB draft class isn't particularly inspiring, they should use their first-round pick on their favorite O-lineman. There's also major questions at running back, and I love Nick Chubb as much as the next guy, but he's likely past his prime and appears unlikely to fully recover from his knee issues. Luckily, running backs have been fairly easy to acquire through free agency as long as you don't undervalue them like the Giants did with Saquon. Someone like J.K. Dobbins could be a great fit in Cleveland. That would be a good start for getting the offense back on track while you wait out Watson's cap hit, so let's turn to the defensive side. Obviously, fingers crossed that Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah can continue his NFL career, but with or without JOK, the defense needs to shake up some things. Garrett could benefit from a better running mate on the opposite edge, and the Browns have shown willingness to spend on that position in the past. And as I mentioned, the secondary could use some big upgrades. Greg Newsome could be on the trade block as he's still just 24 years old and could garner another future draft pick. That would clear up some cap space to go after a veteran or two to mentor some other young picks in the draft at corner and safety. Now, of course, this plan relies on hitting on some late draft picks, which is never a guarantee, but plenty of teams have found diamonds in the rough, and the Browns need to be one of them. And that's just to start the rebuild. It's going to take a whole lot more maneuvering, and even with some major splashes ahead of the 2025 season, it's unlikely the Browns will be contending next year. This is going to take a long time to fix. But hey, look at the Detroit Lions. If they can figure it out with their history of incompetence, then why can't the Browns? So perk up, Cleveland. It's not all doom and gloom. This team still has plenty to build off of. It's just going to take some time. And while you wait for that time to come, at least your basketball team is awesome. For more on how the Cavs are the best team in the NBA, check out this past episode of Point of View. Enjoy the weekend. We hope to see you again next week.